Government will establish the Ministry of Investment after House of Representatives plenary meeting approved the decision. The Indonesia Stock Exchange gave deadline relaxations for issuers to submit financial statements. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sectors. With me, Claranta Wijaya, and this is Market Headlines. The approval to establish the Ministry of Investment at the House of Representatives plenary meeting will fix regional investment problems, stated by Indonesia Chamber of Commerce. Indonesia's Chamber of Commerce, or Kadin Indonesia, warmly welcomed transitions from Investment Coordinating Board to be the Ministry of Investment. Kadin assessed that the establishment of the Investment Ministry will facilitate business licensing affairs, which will only pass one door through the Minister of Investment. Handito Juwono, as the head of Committee of Export in Kadin, stated that the changing of nomenclature can ease the investment process. Handito hopes that the problem that have arisen in the investment realization in Indonesia can be resolved, such as regional investment problem, by noting that investment minister must be able to strengthen coordinations with the other technical ministers.
Saya yakin komunikasi, koordinasi yang terkait dengan investasi di seluruh Indonesia akan berjalan lebih baik. Jadi kalau kami dari dunia usaha menyambut baik, menyambut dengan angkat jempol kepada pemerintah, khususnya dengan rencana pembentukan Kementerian Investasi ini. Pembentukan Kementerian Investasi bukan bermakna bahwa BKPM-nya atau kepala BKPM-nya lemah ya, tetapi ini menunjukkan niat lebih serius.
On the other hand, the approval to establish the Ministry of Investment at the House of Representatives plenary meeting will create more investments to the country, stated by economists at Indonesian Center of Reform of Economics. Core senior economist Peter Abdullah highlighted transformations from Investment Coordinating Board to be Investment Ministry. It means that current Investment Coordinating Board role is not reaching its maximum, so it needs Investment Ministry to handle investment affairs. Peter stated that all this time, Investment Coordinating Board is only working on business licensing, but the regulations is in the other ministries. Therefore, by becoming a ministry, it can formulate regulations about investments.
Kementerian ada tambahan kewenangan, tanda kutip, ya, karena dengan menjadi sebuah kementerian, maka BKPM nanti tidak hanya sekedar menjadi tempat pendaftaran dan pemrosesan perizinan, tetapi juga menyangkut juga kebijakan-kebijakan regulasi terkait dengan perizinan. Tetapi dengan catatan bahwasanya tantangan terbesarnya adalah, ya, meskipun kewenangannya bertambah, tetap adalah bagaimana mensinergikan, mengkoordinasikan.
The Minister of Research and Technology, Bambang Brojonegoro, felt uncomfortable with the approval of Indonesian House of Representatives for the merger of the Ministry of Research and Technology to the Ministry of Education and Culture. After government's decision to merge Ministry of Research and Technology to the Ministry of Education and Culture, Bambang Brojonegoro, which is currently Minister of Research and Technology, stated that he eventually will be the last minister.
Saya sudah mengusulkan kalau dipisah, BRIN-nya terpisah sebagai badan, kementerian yang kalau bisa kembali ke Ristek Dikti, ya, karena disitulah sebenarnya kombinasi yang baik, ya, karena Dikti pendidikan tinggi itu memang heavy-nya di research.
He expressed that he was sad because later the Ministry of Research and Technology would no longer stand alone.
Tapi rupanya usulan saya bukan usulan yang diambil, ya, yang putuskan diambil adalah yang digabungkan ke Dikbud, ya, karena diktinya ada di sana, ya, jadi tidak diktinya dikeluarkan, dikti tetap di situ, risteknya yang akan bergabung dengan Dikbud, ya. Ya, secara pribadi saya juga merasa tidak enak, ya, merasa sedih karena ya boleh dibilang saya jadi Menristek terakhir.
Previously, the House of Representatives approved the merger of two ministries at the Representatives Plenary Meeting, which took place at the Parliament Complex, Senayan, Jakarta. Jakarta, Raja Patmo for IDX Channel. As Indonesia is now entering Ramadan season, the State Electricity Company, or PLN, predicts electricity consumption in Jakarta will increase by 2% compared to the last year. For that, PLN conducts testing rally to ensure power reliability during Ramadan. Ramadan season is on. Jakarta Distribution Unit of a State Electricity Company makes sure that the power will be sufficient in Ramadan 2021. For now, the unit is on a rally to check the power reliability in Jakarta. Dodi Pangaribuan, as a General Manager of Distribution Unit for PLN Jakarta area, stated that electricity demand will increase as much as 2% due to government's policy on homecoming ban.
Kita tentu lakukan persiapan dari teknis maupun non teknis. Ya, dari segi teknis kita lakukan pemeliharaan rutin, ya, jauh-jauh hari sebelum Ramadan. Kemudian kita ganti misalnya beberapa peralatan yang memang harus diganti. Kemudian kita lengkapi kembali misalnya alat-alat kerja yang memang sudah waktunya juga diganti, ada yang diperbaiki.
For that, supporting equipment including thousands of personnel is prepared. There are 16 standby posts, 6 detected cars, 17 mobile substation, 20 units of power bank, 6 uninterruptible power supply units or UPS. Main monitoring points are still in the worship area, hospitals, and supporting infrastructure for COVID-19 handling. Jakarta, Adi Firmansyah for IDX Channel. Market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Benarkah tren transisi ke energi baru dan terbarukan tidak membuat industri energi fosil lantas surut? Seperti apa dampaknya terhadap sektor migas?
Turunnya atau rendahnya harga minyak dan gas yang sangat drastis turunnya, adanya pandemi yang membuat terbatasnya pergerakan.
Langkah yang dilakukan apa nih Pak?
Hingga hari ini saya kira Brent hari ini sekitar 55. Ini sesuatu yang positif untuk industri yang itu kira.
PT Garuda Indonesia Persero Tbk telah melakukan pemutusan kontrak penyewaan 12 pesawat Bombardier CGR-1000.
Kita memutuskan untuk mengembalikan 12 pesawat Bombardier CRJ-1000.
Pemerintah berencana memberikan insentif pajak penjualan atas barang mewah atau PPNBM untuk kendaraan bermotor.
Tujuan dari insentif ini adalah dalam rangka mendorong pemulihan ekonomi lebih cepat.
Berdasarkan hasil referendum per 7 Maret 2021, mayoritas masyarakat Swiss menyetujui perjanjian dagang Indonesia.
WNI dengan dukungan Kementerian Pertanian meluncurkan program milenial smart farming.
Warga Amerika yang sudah mendapatkan vaksinasi penuh dapat kembali beraktivitas seperti keadaan normal.
Terlihat ini yang menurut saya menjadi sentimen negatif buat di pasar komoditas seperti karena pemasaran untuk menekan harga komoditas.
Welcome back to Market Headlines. The House of Representatives approved President Joko Widodo's proposal regarding establishment of the Ministry of Investment, and the government claims the presence of this ministry is to increase the realizations of investment and create jobs.
The House of Representatives approved the plan to establish the Ministry of Investment proposed by President Joko Widodo. The approval is in accordance with the provisions of Law No. 39 of 2019 concerning state ministries, which regulates that changes as a result of separation or merger of ministries are carried out with the consideration of the House. Talking about the handling of investment, Indonesia actually already has a special agency at the ministry level, namely the Investment Coordinating Board, or BKPM. The status of the head of BKPM is also equivalent to that of a ministerial official. For information, BKPM is an institution that is tasked with coordinating policies and services in the investment sector based on the provisions of laws and regulations. Meanwhile, since 2019, President Joko Widodo has expressed his intention to form 2 new ministries. One thing that was conveyed was his desire to form a ministry that specifically deals with investment. Previously, the president had combined the Creative Economy Agency into the Ministry of Tourism. Meanwhile, other ministries that were merged in 2014 were the Ministry of Forestry and the Ministry of Environment. IDX Channel team reported.
Talking about the handling of investment, Indonesia has actually a special agency at the ministry level, namely the Investment Coordinating Board, or Indonesia is really well known as BKPM. And since some of you might not know about BKPM, let's dig more about these institutions right on the next graphic. Through the next graphic, we can see that BKPM is a non-ministerial government agency, and it is in charge of implementing policy and service coordinations in investment. And also, BKPM is mandated to boost domestic and foreign direct investment, and also seek quality investments that may drive the Indonesian's economy and absorb a lot of manpower. And after mentioning that it would be changed to become the Ministry of Investment, BKPM spokesperson Tina Talisa said that this is the prerogative of the president, and BKPM is in a position to follow the president's direction. And BKPM sees the establishment of the Ministry of Investment as a very serious commitment to the president to accelerate and increase investment aimed at increasing job creations. And in statement, BKPM emphasized readiness to carry out whatever the president decides and directs. Meantime, the presence of the Ministry of Investment is expected to be able to increase investment realization in Indonesia. But how much has actually the investment realizations been in recent years? So let's see the data in the next graphic. Here it is through the next graphic. We can see Indonesia's investment realizations through recent years. I would like to highlight in 2019, whereas the target has lower than the realization. And one in 2020 is the same. The target set at 817.2 trillion rupiah, while the realization has surpassed in 826 trillion rupiah. And in recent years, the role of BKPM as executor of investment in Indonesia has been quite evident, as seen from the comparison of investment targets and realization. And specifically in 2020, as I would like to highlight before, in the midst of pandemic, total investment realization was still able to exceed the target, where the investment realization contributed from 50.1% of the domestic investment and 49.9% from a foreign investment. Although the achievement of investment realization is quite positive, one main thing is that needs to be considered is that how Indonesia can get quality investment that can move the economy and absorb a lot of labor. And this multiplier effect is expected in achieving investment realizations either under BKPM or under the Ministry of Investment later. And talking about labor of workers absorption, how big is absorptions from the investment realization so far? So let's see through the next graphic. Let's see 2020 data about the absorptions of workers. In the first quarter of 2020, there are 303,000 workers absorbed from investment realizations. And moving on to the fourth quarter in 2020, there was 294,000 workers absorbed from the investment realizations in 2020. And here it is, we can see the positive trend in investment realizations is deemed necessary to be accompanied by precise strategy in restoring the employment. And to do this, the government must choose the right sector that has multiplier effect and allows for expansion. And meanwhile, this year, BKPM targets realizations of investments to reach 900 trillion rupiah, with at least 1.3 million jobs being absorbed. Of course, this can be a reference target for the Ministry of Investment, maybe even higher targets. And the plan to establish the Ministry of Investment also invites pros and cons, both from the business actors and the economic observers. What do they say about this? So let's check it on the next graphic. We can see the battle of opinions from Ajim Hamdani, which is the head of banking and finance at HIPMI. He said that the investment ministry, which is expected to break the deadlock and bottleneck investment, is a concrete step for the government to encourage debureaucratizations and create more business-friendly investment climate. While on the other hand, we got Bima Yusira, as the economist of IndiHome, that stated, what is it for being a ministry? It is not certain that investment can increase because the problem is not actually attracting potential investors through promotions, but it's more importantly about the follow-up from commitments to investment realizations. So in this case, Bima emphasized that the establishment of the Ministry of Investment indicated that the government was not confident enough about the existence of BKPM and the job creation law to attract investors. Apart from Bima, public policy observer Trubus Rahardiansyah also assessed that there is no urgency to establish the Ministry of Investment. This is because the government already has an Investment Coordinating Board and Indonesia Investment Authority, which are judged to overlap the existence of the Ministry of Investment. He said that the establishment of the new ministry would also cause bureaucracy to grow fatter and burden the state budget. And this was not in accordance with President Joko Widodo's statement, who wanted the streamline of the bureaucracy. And yes, viewers, if needed, the government realized the establishment of the Ministry of Investment, and hopefully this is not just a change in nomenclature, but it can actually have a greater positive impact on investment realizations, labor absorptions, and of course, welfare for the people. Stay tuned, market headlines, because we will be right back after this quick break.
Target pemerintah kan untuk mencapai herd immunity, dan dengan penduduk yang 270 juta perlu kan sekitar 180-an juta penduduk yang harus divaksin.
Welcome back to Market Headlines. So let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index during the movement. So earlier today, JCI was open at a level of 5,903.4, and then approaching the closing time of the first session, the index was on level of 5,905.48. And the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at a level of 5,927.44. In short, JCI went down 0.36%. Next, we are going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got infrastructure as leader of the strengthening trend that went up 1.06%. We got agriculture that went up 0.99%. We got constructions that went down 1.21%. And mining went down 0.93%. Moving on to the top gainers and the top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading sessions. We got bank that went up 10.13% to the level of 3,370 per share. We got TBIG that went up 10.8% to the level of 2,360 per share. We got Aneka Tambang or Antam that went up 0.89% to the level of 2,270 per share. And we got Telkom Indonesia that went up 0.6% to the level of 3,330 per share. Meantime, for the top losers for today's trading stations, we got BBCA that went down 1.07% to the level of 30,000 rupiah per share. We got BBRI that went down 1.19% to the level of 4,160 rupiah per share. We got PJS that went down 4.07% to the level of 1,180 rupiah per share. We got BBTN that went down 0.62% to the level of 1,605 rupiah per share. Next, we're going to see this intraday movement rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at the level of 14,552. Rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. I was closed at the level of 14,566. In summary, rupiah went down 0.1%. The Indonesia Stock Exchange provides answer to criticism regarding the relaxations of deadline for issuers to submit financial statements. The IDX explains that the relaxations policy is an attempt by capital market regulators to understand issuers' condition that occur due to the pandemic.
The Indonesia Stock Exchange provides answers to criticisms regarding the relaxation of the deadline for issuers to submit financial statements. IDX Director of Company Assessment I Gedung Nyoman Yetna Setia said the IDX as one of the capital market regulators takes policies by taking into account various aspects related to investor protection and also taking into account the conditions faced by listed companies as a whole. Nyoman explained that the policy of relaxing the time limit for submitting financial statements and annual reports of issuers to the public was an effort by capital market regulators to understand the conditions that occurred due to the pandemic. Although the capital market regulators provide relaxations for submitting reports and annual reports, the IDX emphasized that the disclosure of information from issuer is still available for investors to be considered before making investment decisions. IDX Channel team reported.
Throughout 2020, Pakuan Jati recorded a significant sharp decline in revenue and net profit compared to the realizations in the previous year.
Throughout 2020, Pakuan Jati was only able to earn 3.98 trillion rupiah in revenue or experience a sharp decline compared to 2019, which reached 7.2 trillion rupiah. Based on the 2020 financial report, the company's net profit was recorded at 929.92 billion rupiah, or a significant decrease compared to 2019's net profit of 2.72 trillion rupiah. However, the company was able to reduce the cost of revenue throughout 2020 to 2.04 trillion rupiah from 3.14 trillion in the previous year. So the company's gross profit last year was recorded at 1.94 trillion, or much lower than 2019, which amounted to 4.06 trillion rupiah. From Jakarta, IDX Channel team reported.
Indica Energy built a solar power plant project in the area of its subsidiary in East Kalimantan. The company management said that it aimed to support the development of the new and the renewable energy sector in Indonesia.
Coal mining company Indica Energy built a solar power plant project in the area of its subsidiary Kidago Jaya Agung in Pasar, East Kalimantan. Indica Energy President Director Arsad Rashid said that it was done to support the development of the new and renewable energy sector in Indonesia and be a pilot for other projects in the future. The solar power plant has a capacity of 409 kilowatt peak and is installed in the residential area of Kideco employees using 999 solar panels, which are installed on the base and roof of the house using 3 inverters. In the long term, the power plant at Kideco is expected to reduce diesel consumption by as much as 45%, so that it not only makes electricity production costs more efficient, but will also reduce greenhouse gas emissions. IDX Channel team reported.
Step aside from market conditions, as coronavirus pandemic takes a big role in current economic situations, here is an update data about coronavirus globally. At the news close of market headlines today, please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy academic business and capital market channel. I'm Claranta Wijaya. Have a nice evening and stay safe.
Menjalani kehidupan yang mapan dan masa depan yang sejahtera. Sikapi uang dengan bijak. Mulailah berinvestasi di pasar modal. Dengan membeli saham melalui Bursa Efek maupun perusahaan sekuritas, Anda dapat menikmati hasil keuntungan dari perusahaan-perusahaan besar yang tersedia. Pastikan Anda berinvestasi di perusahaan yang memiliki izin resmi. Cerdas mengelola, masa depan sejahtera. Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, lembaga pengawas industri jasa keuangan yang terpercaya.
Buat saya, motivasi terbesar adalah cinta. Karena saya percaya apabila kita fokus kepada cinta, maka apapun yang kita lakukan, perbuatan kita, pikiran kita, tenaga kita, akan menjadi berlipat ganda untuk menjadikan cinta tersebut semakin terjaga. Jadi, apabila Anda ingin mendapatkan motivasi, temukan cinta terbesar, lalu pastikan Anda support cinta tersebut sehingga Anda menjadi pribadi yang lebih hebat. Saya Hilbram Dunar untuk IDX Channel.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wala ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala rasulillahi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yaumiddin. Pemirsa yang dirahmati Allah Subhanahu wa taala, bahagia senang sekali kita kembali berjumpa dalam keadaan sehat walafiat, dan mudah-mudahan hari-hari kita yang selama ini kita lalui benar-benar berada di dalam tracknya aturan Allah Subhanahu wa taala, yakni aturan syariat. Dan kembali kami menyapa dalam program kesayangan kita, Syariah Economic, hidup dengan ekonomi syariah, meraih berkah, menggapai jannah. Dan alhamdulillah pada kesempatan episode kali ini saya sudah hadir bertamu dan bertemu dengan tokoh ekonomi syariah yang kalau boleh dikatakan beliau adalah salah satu di antara peletak pertama tentang bagaimana perkembangan ekonomi syariah di Indonesia. Dan kita sapa sama-sama, sudah hadir di tengah kita Ayahanda Dr. Muhammad Syafi'i Antoni. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sehat Ayah ya?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Jadi pemirsa yang dirahmati Allah, saya secara pribadi sangat senang hari ini karena hari ini saya pun bisa tampil di depan layar kaca karena tentu bimbingan dari beliau, belajar di Sekolah Tinggi Ekonomi Islam Tazkiyah, dan Masya Allah hari ini Allah pertemukan di dalam satu kursi yang sama, beda ya kursinya. Dan ini menjadi sebuah kesempatan terbaik tentunya untuk sama-sama kita akan mengkaji tema kali ini, yakni bicara tentang potret ekonomi syariah di Indonesia. Baik, Ayah, mungkin saya akan bertanya 26 tahun ekonomi syariah kalau dimulai dari Bang Muamalat muncul sampai